Hi guys, and welcome back to the Sun Devil Learnings Lab. This is Mrs. Lopez. I'll be helping and doing math with you today. And if you are new to the Sun Devil Learning Labs, then welcome. And if you are returning to the Sun Devil Learning Labs and have seen previous videos, you may know who I already am. And I welcome you back, and let's get started. Okay, so today we're going to be learning about the greatest common factor. We're going to learn what is the greatest common factor, what does that even mean. We're going to learn how to find it. So today you're going to start off with grabbing your materials, your paper, and your pencil. So pause the video now for 2 minutes to grab your materials. Okay, welcome back. And now that you're back and have your materials, I do have a joke. What is a math teacher's favorite type of tree? If you said geometry, that's correct. And then also we have our objectives. Our objective is I can find prime factors of any number up to 100, and I can find the greatest common factor of two numbers. I'm going to repeat those again, and then I want you to repeat them after me. Oops. I can find the prime factors of any number up to 100. And I can find the greatest common factor of two numbers. Okay, so we have our vocabulary today. It's going to start off with a factor. A factor is a number that divides evenly into another number. I'm going to show you some examples of those factors as well, but that's the definition for it. We have a prime number. Those are only factors. Their only factors are 1 and itself. So you can only break down 3 as a factor tree by 1 and 3. It can only be multiplied by itself by 1 in order to be a prime number. A composite number is a number that has more than one factor. So 4. It's 1 and 4 and 2 and 2. But again, I'm going to show you again later on in our lesson what a prime number and composite number are. And the greatest common factor, or GCF, the largest factor that a number shares. So 2 numbers or 3 numbers share, that's the greatest common factor. And remember, a factor is a number that divides evenly into another number. So before we get started, I want you to think. Really, I want you to know that every number can be expressed as a product of the whole factor. For example, we have 6. 6 can be written as 1 and 4 times 3. Those are factors. 2 and 3 are the factors of this number 6, but there are also prime numbers because their factors are only themselves and 1. So a factor of 2 is 1 and 2, and a factor of 3 is 1 and 3. It can only be multiplied by 1 in order to make that number. So prime factors are important because they're multiplicative building blocks of numbers, and they can help you find factors that 2 composite numbers share in common, or 2 numbers share in common. So 2 and 3 are going to be our prime factors of 6. So now we're going to do a factor tree. I want you to see these numbers. So this is my I do. We have 18 and 20, and we want to break these numbers down. So 18 could be 3 times 6. That's broken down and into a tree, but it still can be broken down further, and then we have 20. That's 5 times 4. Now, looking at these numbers, we're trying to get 3, it's going to be 1, 3. So that is going to be a number. And 6 is going to be our composite number because 6 could still be broken down into 3 times 2. So looking at 20, 5 can't be broken down any further, so 5 is a prime number. But 4 can be broken down into 2, so that is a prime number. Now we're left with prime numbers. These are all of our prime numbers. 3, 3, and 2. So 3 times 3 times 2 is going to give us 18. And 5 times 2 times 2 is going to give us 20. So the one way to find a prime factor is creating this factor tree. So we're going to list the prime factors underneath, like here, and we have 3, 2, and 2. Those are the prime factors of these two numbers. So now we're going to be finding which one is the most common. It's circled already now, but 2 is the common in this number. There isn't a 5 or another 2 in 18, or there isn't a 3 in 20 as factors. So our greatest common factor of these two numbers is actually going to be 2. So now let's do it in a Venn diagram. So Venn diagram, we're going to show how to place prime factors for 18, 20 inside the Venn diagram. And the overlapping section will contain the number 2. And in the prime factor, that's going to be the number that they have in common. So, right, all the numbers that we have, 2 in a factor of 18, and there's a 2 in a factor of 20. This is the greatest common factor because it's the largest number that is a factor of 18 and 20. So, looking at these numbers, we know that 3 times 3 times 2 equals 18 because we have 3 times 3 times 2. And we also have 5 times 2 times 2 because they share this number, and that sharing is going to be in the middle. So the greatest common factor of 18 and 20 is going to be 2. This might still be a little bit confusing for you right now, but we're going to do another number. I'm going to do another number for you. So our greatest common factor is 2. Okay, so we're going to do another factor tree. But this time we're going to do a factor tree of 30 and 20, and we're going to find the greatest common factor. So now we're going to break down 30. 30 is 3 times 10, and then we're going to break down 20, and that's going to be 5 times 4. You could break it up any different way. As long as it still equals 20, you could have did 2 and 10 and still got the same answer for your factors. But I did 5 times 4. So now looking at the next level, 3 we know is a prime number because it only could be multiplied by 1, and 10 can still be broken down into 5 times 2. And then 5 we know is a prime number. It can't be broken down any further, but 4 can. Is 2 times 2. So these are going to be our prime numbers. 3 times 2. So now we want to build and figure out what numbers they have in common. 3 as a factor, so we have it. I see 5 and so common numbers in these two are going to be 5 and 2. Those are the greatest common factors, but you have to multiply them together, so it's going to give you 10. 10 is going to be the greatest common factor between these two numbers. And I'm going to show you why. So let's do our Venn diagram now. We have 30 and 20, and we know our factors. 3, 2, and 5, and 2, 2, and 5. Those are our factors of 30 and 20. So we know 5 times 3 times 2 is 30, and 5 times 2 times 2 is 20. Well, we see those common numbers right here, 5, and we see the common numbers 2. So 5 times 2 is 10, because we need to find the greatest common factor between them. And multiply the middle number. So GCF, or the greatest common factor of 30 and 20, is going to be 10. Okay, so now we're going to do this together. Factor tree of 30 and 54. Factor trees and multiply your numbers out and break them down and figure out what are the factors of 36 and 54. Pause the video for 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Okay, welcome back. So here's the way that I broke down these numbers. For 36, I did 4 times 9, and for 54, I did 6 times 9. And then I know 4 can be broken down even further, and that's going to give me 2 and 2. And I know that 9 could be broken down even further as well, and that's going to give me 3 times 3. And then 54, we have 6. That could be broken down to 3 times 2. And 9 could be broken down to 3 times 3. All of these numbers are going to be our prime factors. But where are the numbers that they have in common? Those are going to be 2, 3, and 3. Those are the numbers that they have in common. So let's go to our Venn diagram and write them out. So here's our Venn diagram. We have 6 and 54, and we're going to put our prime numbers in that Venn diagram. So pause the video, write your prime factors in those in the Venn diagram, and we'll go further. Pause the video for 3 minutes. Okay, welcome back. So now that we have our prime factors written in our Venn diagram, let's show mine. This is how I wrote it. We have 2 times 2 times 3 times 7 gives us 6. And 2 times 3 is going to give us 54. Those are our prime factors. Those are what have in common. And this is a sharing answers. 3 times 3 times 2 times 2 is 36, and 3 times 3 times 3 times 2 is 54. Whew, it's a lot to say. So we have 3, 3, and 2 in common. Now we need to multiply those 3 numbers out to find out what our greatest common factor is. So you should have gotten 18 as your greatest common factor, because 3 times 3 is 9, and 9 times 2 equals 18. So our greatest common factor is going to be 18. So now there's a you do. You're going to try this on your own. I'll give you the answers again after, but I want you to break these 2 numbers up and find their factors. So pause the video for however long you need. Okay, welcome back. So this is how I broke down the factors, and you should have gotten the same factors that I have. It doesn't matter the order that you put in or however you wanted to break down the tree, but we should end 2, 3, 2, 5 as prime factors of 60 and 2, 3. Those prime factors of 20. So now, if you worked ahead already, then you should have drawn your Venn diagram. So pause the video again to fill out your Venn diagram with the prime numbers, prime factors that we've already completed. Okay, welcome back. So these are prime numbers that you should have already put in. All of the prime factors actually fit in the middle for 60. So we have 5 times 3 times 2 times 2 is 60, and 5 times 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 120. So in order to find our greatest common factor, what should we have done? If you said multiply those numbers together in the Venn diagram, you're correct. So 3 times 60 So we have some more problems here. These are my questions for you to try out. I want you to find the greatest common factor of 44 and 80. Find the greatest common factor of 24 and 18. And find the greatest common factor of 28 and 42. Pause the video for 10 minutes to try out these problems, and then we'll come back and we'll go to the answer. Okay, welcome back. So these are the answers that you should find. The greatest common factor, or GCF, of 44 and 80 is 4. The greatest common factor of 24 and 18 is going to be 6. And the greatest common factor of 28 and 42 is 14. We do have some games and activities that you guys can try out at home. These will be included in your learning guides. And our objectives where I can find the prime factors of any number up to 100. We did that. We actually did it even further than 100. We did 120. And I can find the greatest common factor of 2 numbers. Those questions that you did at the end, you did find the greatest common factor of 2 numbers.